right. Welcome to Tuesday's devotional, 1 Samuel chapter 20. David, he's on the run. He's on the run a lot this stage of his life. Jonathan, Saul's son, the prince, so to speak, the heir apparent, and David were fast friends, absolutely loyal friends to each other. And Jonathan's loyalty never flags. And even though he sees what his father thinks of Saul and what his father's been, or what his father Saul has been saying about David and thinks about David, Jonathan is still loyal. And Saul sees this. He sees my son, who I'm trying to establish security that he'll be the next king. He's best friends with his biggest threat. And Saul couldn't handle that. As long as David was alive, David's a threat to Jonathan's future and to Saul's family dynasty. So we see kind of conversation with David and Jonathan. Jonathan still thinks, hey, no, there's a chance my father's not completely against you. And so they concoct this plan that you read of to determine Saul's true intent. Plan works. Jonathan's wrong. Or at least Jonathan's hope isn't realized. Saul is against David, only sees him as a threat. Jonathan tells David the news, they tearfully part. And note here that Jonathan expresses like, David, you're going to be king next. Even though, again, socially, culturally, the expectation is, well, it'll be Jonathan. He's Saul's son. The kingdom of God doesn't work in the ways that our culture thinks about working. It's as simple as, things like, I'm a pastor. My father's an electrician. In the ancient world, culturally, I'd be training to be an electrician. I'd be an electrician by now. I'd be a very bad one and possibly a dead one. But, because you follow your father's trade, it's the same as, my kids. There's not the expectation of them being pastors in our culture. In the ancient world, especially when it came to kingship, you followed the path of your father in terms of profession and position. We have other things of how our culture looks to make things work or thinks how things should work. And God's kingdom just doesn't work that way. Been reading in Hebrews and Corinthians over the last few weeks, and just simple things of God saying, I chose the foolish things. I chose the lowly to be where I would work. Not the rich, not the powerful, which is how we think culture is shaped and formed. Not in God's kingdom. Culturally, David and Jonathan should have been enemies. They're both competing for, or at least would be perceived to be, in the way that the world around them would expect them to be competing for the position of being king next. But they're loyal to each other. Their relationship is based on, and the word that gets used is chesed. They have a loyal love for one another. They would not act against each other, even if expected by those around them. And here's a sad thing to me. There are those that have posited that David and Jonathan had a romantic love for one another. Why is that? It's not in the text. It's not anywhere mentioned anything like that. But the nature of the love they had for each other is so unexpected, so unusual. I think it's people who just can't conceive of that being the case. At least this may be some of the reason that interpretation or that idea is even given. Because these are two men who just are loyal to one another over and above cultural expectations, family obligations, because they're loyal like God is loyal, and they trust God to be loyal to them. Jesus said, if anyone comes to me and does not hate father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even their own life, such a person cannot be my disciple. One of those hard teachings of Jesus that, again, cause at times some people, maybe all of us, just at times go, what are you saying, Jesus? Again, this is in comparison. Jesus is not saying hate other people. It's in comparison. Loyalty to me has to trump all other loyalties, all other allegiances, all other relationships. And here's the reality. As we give our allegiance first and foremost to Jesus, he enables us, leads us, teaches us, shows us how to love others in a way that may be very countercultural and may be so striking. It causes confusion as much as it is admired. So, how do we keep our loyalty to Jesus first and foremost? Again, to be loyal to him and allow him, as he defined, how do we be loyal to him? Love one another. That's the commandment he's given. As we love him, we will love others, and we will see him work and shape us and bless those around us. May the Lord bless you and keep you today. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. And today would you know his peace. God bless.